My life a few years ago was definitely, and I was in a pretty good place. I was pretty happy. And then things took a really drastic turn because, that's life. And, I had hit rock bottom and I lost my way and I didn't know what to do. And when you're lost and you don't know what to do and you cry for help, sometimes the right thing comes and saves you. And for me, that calling happened. For me, I was gifted an opportunity. For me, I was afforded this brilliant luck. For me, I joined Dark Order. What's up, WrestleManiacs? Welcome back to yet another episode of Journey into Wrestling. This is season 5, episode 17, and that's the last time you will hear me say the words episode or season anything. We are at episode 17. You'll hear more episodes. You'll never hear me say season on Journey into Wrestling again. So, unless we might bring back a season. I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, today joining me is someone who he has his own testimonial. Maybe he'll share it. Who knows? But welcome back to the fold, the one and only Alexander Buckles.
So, when off the air, you told me you were going to start the show off by going off the rails. You know, I had a couple theories in mind. The Dark Order thing didn't quite come to mind. It wasn't the first thing I thought of. I thought you were just going to start the show by screaming, "My hole."
Yes.
So, I mean, and if you didn't, that was my plan too. So, I still got that out there. That's okay. We're good. honestly,
That's
things have
funny.
gone on in wrestling for the last week. There's headlines, there's low lines, there's highlights, there's lowlights. But realistically, we could just sit here and replay the clip of Nia Jax screaming "my hole" for an hour straight, and we'd probably be not only topical, but we'd still be funnier than I normally am. So.
And the trilogy video. If you've seen the Bubba Ray,
Yep. And then it's Bully Ray. It is oh god, it's the -5 stars match. Charmel and Jenna Maraska. Is that right?
I think so.
My vag.
Yeah, and then of course the
And
now
then now,
infamous,
yes,
also censored by the way, and not
the
seen on YouTube.
the Return of the King, the Return of the Jedi of my comments. It's the Return of the Jedi of assholes. Yes. Um,
that might be the episode title, bro. I don't know if you can top that. It's a long go, boy, but I love it.
We've had a couple.
Anyways,
that's. I don't know that we're going to come up with a bigger headline than that. That's the highlight of the week. That is the highlight of the wrestling world. Well, it went fucking viral.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna spin this brown upside down.
We are gonna have more words. We're gonna have words on that segment because I have a lot. We need to talk about that for one. It's gonna happen. By all means, go ahead.
Well, I do want to talk about the segment because obviously we're talking about Nia Jax is in some match with Lana. I don't really know what's going on. You'll maybe fill us in a little bit deeper, but long story short, she goes for the outside the apron leg drop and botches, misses completely. And
it wasn't a botch. That was a planned miss. It was the finish of the match.
I did the quotes for botch because I was saying it was supposed to look like a missed opportunity that just that came up short. And first she said, "Ah," and then she said, "My butt," and then my hole.
Yes.
And
okay. Let's just go ahead and go with. Let's just get this clip out of the way. Let's get this out of the way so we can get on to the rest of the show. There's more going on with this than the two words, unfortunately. And there's some deeper thinking involved in this, actually, because taking it at face value, it's funny, but taking it at face value, you have a match that didn't get promoted at all. Basically, this was a tables match between Nia and Lana, paying off an angle that they've been playing for 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah.
Lana going through a table angle, and not only did they pay it off, but they paid it off without any promoting it on Raw. It was just, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna bury this episode or this match in the third hour of the show, and no one's paying attention and no one gives a shit.
Hey, it's so
And
weird.
and we're not going to announce it. We're not going to hype it up. We're just going to throw it out there. It's going to be literally a 5-minute match of Lana getting ragdolled because that's her lot in life at this point.
Well, yeah.
And then we have the spot, which is Nia doing the leg drop and missing and whatever, which then leads into her getting shoved gingerly into a table by Lana winning, or with Lana winning, and then continuing the angle by having Shayna and Lana's new friend and new tag team partner, Naomi, who's apparently being punished by God by being involved in this angle.
Yeah. For sure.
Now she's involved in a match, and Lana gets beat up again. So it really ended up with no result whatsoever. But so you have the booking is questionable with the match itself, in that if you're going to pay it off, why not pay it off? If you're going to pay it off, why did you have her eliminate Nia at the Rumble? Why did you have her as the sole survivor at Survivor Series? Why continue to drag the feud on if every time you supposedly pay it off, you just continue it going? And then there's this weird thing with that a comment that's kind of been rattling around in my brain about Nia, in that she oversold that spot even before screaming my hole. She oversold the leg drop itself so badly, like comically so, like Dolph Ziggler on steroids, oversell it. And Nia is, whether it's by design or by some kind of a character defect of the person, cannot carry a match. She's not going to be your ring general. She's not winning anybody over with the ring work. She's not really winning anybody over with her character work, but she continues to draw eyes and draw attention by doing outlandish and dumb shit, whether that's punching Becky in the face, whether that's legit KOing Kairi Sane,
yep.
or in this case, completely derailing a match
my hole
by overselling and screaming. Like, is she acknowledging that she can't do this without pulling a stupid headline? Is she, chasing attention?
Do you want me to tell you what I think it is?
Well, there's also a theory that somebody bet her backstage and she wouldn't say my hole, and it somehow made it onto the camera that she was too close to the microphone. There's that theory as well, which might honestly be legit. Like, I'll bet you $5 she won't scream my hole.
Oh, but that multiplied by all the talent backstage, I'd take that bet. And then I just do it. Yeah.
It went viral as all hell, so she's gonna get attention off of it one way or the other.
I will say now the Kairi Sane thing is not included in this, but the other two things, the most recent my whole yelling, and then the Becky thing, which was like an accidental type thing ish. But this is my thought. What if Nia is one of the few people in the WWE right now that, regardless of her ring talent, is doing the thing Vince needs talent to do by being fearless, taking weird risks, doing stuff that people aren't going to give her the approval backstage for? Because there's no way she ran that by people backstage. There's no way she said, hey, I'm going to go yell that.
If there's one person that she ran it by that would have liked it, it would have been Vince.
Well, you're right. It probably would have been, but she didn't have a chance to run by him, I'm guessing, and who knows? But the deal is pretty simple, okay? We are talking about Nia Jax still. She is relevant still, and
I gather that entirely.
And she's finding a way to maintain a quality of relevance. Because I'm not gonna lie, bro, that was some funny shit. Like, that was like one of the funniest.
Well, it's funny on its own right, but it's also funny because it's the most memorable thing of Raw. I couldn't. This is 3 days removed. I would have to go back and look at a summary to tell you what happened on Raw, aside from Nia screaming my hole.
and this is on the other side of a Royal Rumble that was decent, and we're supposedly building to Mania at some point.
Well, we're getting an Elimination Chamber in less than 2 weeks now.
Oh boy! Wow.
And they've also completely punted on building for that as well.
Well, before we get into that though, because I do want to kind of, I told you I was going to turn that brown upside down and make this a negative a positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you've heard or seen or know anything, and obviously I'm going to fill the audience in so they don't know. You're going to hear it twice, but you've heard Bully Ray's comments on Lana.
No, I haven't.
Awesome. I'm going to share this with you right now. I'm going to read the entire quote. I'm not going to read a partial quote. This is the whole part of the thing, him talking about Lana. I think it's very poignant. He says, the number one word that comes to mind when I see Lana these days on television, ever since the first day that she went through that table, is professional. She is a complete pro. I see that woman trying as hard as she can every single time she goes out there. Lana's not Charlotte. She's not Sasha. She's clearly not Bayley. And she's not yada yada. We get it. But I'll be damned if that girl doesn't go out there and give it her all and try her hardest. I know she goes down and she rolls around with Natty and TJ at Natty and TJ's place down there, obviously talking about training.
Right.
She tries to get that extra work in, as we've talked about before. If you have an opportunity to get in a ring and you keep your chops up, you keep your timing down, you're going to be rolling and you're bumping. You should be doing that. And this is the part of the leading into the best part. He says, she invests her time in her profession. She goes out there. She's never boo-boo faced about anything. She's literally taking power bombs from Nia Jax and still getting up. She's selling. She's registering. Her facials are great. Bravo, Lana. You did this the right way.
So if you're trying to convince me that a WWE talent is doing their job and doing their ring work and doing everything that's asked of them well, and it's just the fucking booking that's making them look terrible, that's not something you're going to have to convince me of.
Well, that wasn't real. I mean, obviously, that's not the angle I was playing, but
no, but that's the thing with Lana, is that what Bully's saying is absolutely right. Like, she does the work. She clearly put the effort in. She's not half-assing it in the ring. She's not unsafe, unlike Nia. She's not just mailing it in like a Goldberg. She's not, she's actually trying. She's doing she's making chicken salad out of chicken shit. And that's great. That's perfect. That's wonderful for her. The reason that people don't seem to like her is because the character that she's given, not that she's acting out, but the character that she's being written into, is terrible.
Oh, yeah, especially when you are coming off the heels of the Lashley storyline that they had her in.
Well, they never gave reason for her to be a face. They just, oh, yeah, she's a face now, so we're going to have her get beat up.
Just poor.
And it doesn't help that she's still married to Miro, and the public perception is that she's getting put to the tables, not because of storyline or angle, but because Vince just thinks it's funny to take off Miro. So, I mean... Lana, yes, she's making the best of a bad situation. Yes, absolutely, yes. Which is all Raw is, a bad situation. I know we're trying to get to the happy stuff, and I'm going to get to the happy stuff here shortly. Don't worry, we're going to get to the positives here. It's just, we got to get through Raw to get to the positives.
Oh, yeah.
So we theorize, and usually when you have a Rumble, you have one person that comes out of winning the Rumble. They challenge either the Raw or SmackDown champion. We have to find a number one contender for the other title. That's usually where Elimination Chamber comes in. That's what we've kind of come to expect.
Yeah.
You have an Elimination Chamber match to find your number one contender, right?
Yeah.
Not if you're WWE in 2021.
What are they doing?
They are making Drew defend the title in Elimination Chamber against other former championship holders.
Oh, he's definitely losing. That's their.
I don't know. I don't think so. But
well, okay. Who challenged Drew?
Orton, Miz, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, AJ Styles. I think that's everybody.
Okay. Who did Edge challenge? Reigns?
No one.
He hasn't challenged yet.
It's going to be Reigns.
Nope. Here's my theory. Follow along. Okay, Reigns definitely a popular thought, right? Because I think they started building that storyline this week. But if you're not committed to Reigns yet, and you have this elimination in 2 weeks, elimination chamber in 2 weeks, okay, 2 weeks. You've already had Drew lose the title once. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference because what do we know? It's in the COVID times, right? So the pop doesn't matter. Let me get back to it. Check this out. The thing that I'm thinking is this. You have a lot of quality names there, but there is two really interesting stories. If AJ wins, AJ versus Edge, bro, it's over. It's one of the dude. It's a dream match. Done.
It is.
Stamp it.
It is.
Alternately, okay, and I'm gonna go completely full circle. Self-fulfilling prophecy. What happens? Orton wins, and Edge and Orton have their final banger for the title. Like, yeah, it's the old timers going at it again, but they are not in a position where they're trying to be part timers about it. This is not Brock and Goldberg getting their rocks off for the Universal title. This is two dudes who work quality matches, and every time they get in the ring, they put shit together, man. So that's my eyesight. Or you do the dark horse and you make it Miz, because Miz just makes a great villain.
So, a couple things. You didn't watch Raw, so you can't know what you don't know. Sorry, right there.
You got me there, bro. I can't know what I don't know.
And they're not gonna have Edge or Orton challenge Edge. They're not gonna have Edge and Orton because they've already had them fighting half the year. That match is done. The only thing that people want to see less than Edge and Orton is Orton and Drew right now, which they just did last week again. What I say you don't know what you can't know what you don't know is because it's gonna be Sheamus. Sheamus is not gonna win, but that's who Drew's Mania feud is.
Because of the whole they're from the same place background friends.
No, because they've been playing off this angle for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks that Drew and Sheamus have been longtime friends, and then all of a sudden last week when Edge showed up after winning the Rumble, Sheamus turned on Drew for reasons known but to God. Drew comes around after that last week and says, "All right, Sheamus, you're willing to throw away a 20-year friendship for the title. You've got your match." So gives Sheamus the title match. When they announced everybody for this Elimination Chamber match, Sheamus gets in Adam Pearce's face. They brought Shane back to announce the match for some reason, which I don't understand. Literally, all he did was announce the match. And
dude, Raw Underground reboot.
Hold on. God, shoot me if that happens. No, they had Sheamus confront Adam Pearce and say, "Hey, why are you screwing me? I had a title match. Drew was going to give me a title match. Now why am I having to compete with 5 other people for a title match?" And Pearce is like, "Well, we're going to give you your title match. Don't worry. We're going to get that title match for you eventually, just not now." So what you're going to get, and Orton, by the way, Orton's going to be having a Firefly Funhouse match at Mania because the angle with Bray's not done yet.
Okay.
So what you're going to have is you'll have a couple eliminations throughout the Rumble or throughout the Elimination Chamber match because Jeff Hardy's not going to win it. You know that Miz is not going to win it because he's still got the Money in the Bank contract. So he's not a threat to actually legitimately win the title while he's holding that. That leaves you with Sheamus, AJ, Drew, and Orton. You're going to have some sort of fuckery from Bray Wyatt to screw Orton out of the match. That's going to set up their Mania match. That just leaves AJ and Sheamus to fight Drew. There's a Sheamus storyline already in place. That's what's going to be their Mania match.
Okay.
Should it be? Probably not, but that's what they're going to do.
Okay.
Same thing. And they're going to have Edge challenge Reigns because that's really the more marquee match that they can. That's your headliner for Mania. Is the best heel in the business right now versus Edge, who's got a legion of fans, even though I don't like the idea of them having the match because I don't think there's a good outcome for it.
It doesn't help anybody and hurts everyone except for Edge.
Who's probably going to lose the match.
Yeah.
So I'm really it sucks to say this because we're less than 2 weeks into WrestleMania season, but I could give a shit less about WrestleMania this year because they're not putting anything together that sounds even remotely interesting.
They're definitely not drawing eyes to the product with the marquee right now. Thing is, can I say something? It would be totally WWE of them, because you know what worked really well for them last year was having to be on the fly and change shit. And we talked about that on episodes previous last season about how not every situation, but in some of those situations where they were having to move things around and change and adjust and decide to make Money in the Bank happen within the Titan Tower or whatever. Like,
right.
Okay, so like all those decisions, maybe they're going to do something where they book these preliminary matches to see how people feel, and then they can totally card subject to change it,
Well, they want to make Mania as big as possible because they're actually going to have fans at the show. I mean, they're trying to make up for last year. That's the idea.
But they're putting a pretty shite card together.
Considering, what do they have? I mean,
dude, they have a ton of talent. You could put all kinds of matches together.
They have no. That's just it. Here's the difference between WWE and AEW. AEW can put dream matches on the card together just for the sake of having good matches, and people buy it. WWE won't do that because they have to feel like they've got some sort of storyline justification, even though they can't write stories. This isn't New Japan where you can throw a dream match together and just have it as a one-off match at a pay-per-view because it's a great fucking match.
It needs to be that way too.
Why do you think AEW is more enjoyable? Why do you think New Japan's more enjoyable? Again, they want to write stories, and apparently they want to write stories, and they have great characters, but they have shit writers. Simple as that. I just laid out exactly what I expect, and I can even go a step further and tell you after just how Elimination Chamber is going to go to lead into Drew's feud. I don't think there's any chance in hell of Sheamus beating Drew because they want to give Drew a chance to win the big match with fans present.
Okay, doesn't that mean, though, he's got to lose to win?
No.
Well, how do you win the big one when you're already the winner? You know what I'm saying?
It's a big title defense.
Yeah, but
it's do you see any chance in hell of them putting the belt on Sheamus?
He's been champion before.
Yes, he has. Great. I really am excited to revisit the League of Nations.
No, I'm not trying to make you revisit that. What I'm saying is that WWE takes uncalculated risks that we as fans can't predict or prepare for. We got a Jinder Mahal title run, bro. I'm just saying that you cannot know. Like, hey, you said it best, and that's might be this week's episode title. You don't know what you don't know, because we don't know the mind behind the scenes that's trying to figure out how to get people. WWE knows, man. They have to know they're slipping. They're trying to figure out how to get their footing, and as of right now, they just keep making it worse. And a lot of that comes with Vince scrapping whole shows, day of the show.
I've said this before, and I'll continue to stand by it. They know they're slipping. I don't know how much they care.
Well, they have to care at some point. They have to care about their product, or they will drive people to the point where no one will watch it, and those investments will not be worth it, and they won't have a product to show. Because what's going to happen if Fox says, you know what, we have this contract with you, and we're not going to air Raw or SmackDown anymore. We're over it. USA says, we're done. You're too much. You're bad. We don't even draw, 0.5 from you anymore.
The thing is that USA draws more from Raw than they do from any of their programming.
I understand that, but I'm saying it could drop, and then what?
It could drop, but I don't think it's a chance of it. Well, Vince can just go get more money from Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah.
The thing is that there's a guaranteed market for WWE because there are WWE fanboys that will not turn it off no matter how bad it gets. There's idiots like me who will continue to watch it even if it's shit because I enjoy watching wrestling.
Oh yeah.
There's also WWE lifers who that's the promised land. That's the big thing. NXT is still profitable for them as well.
Oh yeah.
They can also treat it like an NFL player where they give a shit their last year there.
Oh yeah. I was just doing random Otises at you.
No, I know. You've got Macho Man Randy Otis there. I know. Um, I'm just giving you episode title after episode title
Oh
tonight.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Um. So, honest,
Macho Man
no,
Randy.
Macho Man Randy Otis. No, what I want to
Text
see,
that
and
to
this is
me.
a complete aside here. I want to see a conversation between Danhausen and Otis. Oh yeah, yes, yes.
Very
Oh yeah,
nice. Very evil.
yes. Ah, yeah. Hold on, I
Ticka.
will text you.
Ticka. Ticka.
God.
Ticka.
I'm so happy that Danhausen's on Ring of Honor now as well. That just makes me happy.
That is great news.
In terms of Raw, like WWE is just so damn hard to care about. It's so bad.
Which sucks because we're in WrestleMania season. This when we're typically getting super jazzed on their product, and we're like, "Oh, look, they're putting good matches together." As of right now, they have nothing I care about.
Here's the thing: is that they have all the talent in the world and all the interesting people you want to see, and they're using none of them. Do I really need? I love AJ Styles. There's no one left that AJ hasn't feuded with that I'm interested in watching him feud with. That's on Raw at least. He's on Raw now. So
I think Edge is a name.
Edge is a name, but Edge is going to be tied up with
you already know
with Reigns.
I think we got dream matches that with. Listen, I think Edge presented a very interesting opportunity. And while sure Reigns is right now your top guy, and it's cool to have the rub where your legend comes back and challenges the dog, the big dog or whatever, it only hurts that legend to have him lose when realistically you can't take the heat off Roman by having him lose. So my question is this: why are we not getting like Edge versus Daniel Bryan?
I was the one arguing that we should have had Daniel Bryan winning the Rumble and facing Reigns. That would free Edge up to do whatever needed to be done. But we didn't. I don't know what. I mean, you're probably going to get big. Just spitballing all the titles here. You're going to get Lashley and Matt Riddle for the title, for the U.S. title. You're getting a triple threat at Elimination Chamber, but I don't think that's going to be the blow off of the feud. Riddle's gotten his ass kicked by Lashley every time they've been in the ring together, so I'm guessing that's where he gets it over. Tag team titles, I don't know because you only have like 3 tag teams anyway, so I don't know or care.
Silly.
Yeah, it's dumb. The women's titles, Bianca logically is probably going to go after Sasha.
I love that.
I do too. I just don't know who's going to play the heel because neither one of them is a heel right now.
Sasha, because she naturally makes a better heel.
She does, but
clearly
there's no point. She does, but it's they just turned her face.
It doesn't matter to WWE. You think logic of heel face booking?
Right now, we're trying to figure out the best way to do this here. This is ideal. This isn't just what we're thinking they're going to do. Yeah. This is ideal. So you have 2 champions for Bianca to challenge. Either one of them is going to be a good match because it's either Asuka or Sasha.
If it's Asuka, though, you have a currently really, really dominant Asuka. That they're
do you?
Well, yeah.
Do you really?
Well, I mean, the last 3 times I've watched anything WWE related, she's been kicking ass and taking names. So,
I hate to tell you this, but yes, she still kicks ass and take names when she's the star of her own feud, which hasn't been happening in the last 8 months.
Ooh.
She's played second fiddle to Sasha, to Charlotte. She's played second fiddle to Alexa Bliss. No one's challenged her for the title other than Bliss in a gimmicked match for the last 3 months because there's no one to challenge her. And because they're focusing on other feuds.
Dang, that's crazy.
Raw's women's division right now is quite literally the tag teams, which I guess it's Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, or Lana and Naomi dealing with Nia and Baszler.
Yeah.
So none of them are involved with the main title. Bliss is involved with Orton, so not involved in the main title. You still have Charlotte on the roster, but she's too busy with a really, really terrible feud with Lacey Evans, which is probably a Mania match.
Daddy Stealer.
Yeah, which is probably her Mania match. So that leaves what for Asuka? She may not have a match at Mania because there may not be anybody to fucking challenge her.
Ruby Riott.
On SmackDown.
Naomi?
She's with Lana, probably getting tag title shot.
Okay. Bailey is doing what?
On SmackDown.
Okay. You got Lacey and Charlotte. Rhea?
Supposedly called up to the main roster, but hasn't shown up since the Rumble, so we don't know.
Okay. Could be an interesting, like, surprise thing. That's why they're keeping her off TV, is to make it a surprise when she full debuts, because that'd be hot, dude.
That's entirely
have
possible.
her come out and just straight up go right to the top to Asuka. That's
an option.
Yeah, and they'd put on a banger of a match.
That's a legitimate option, but they need to get her on TV.
Ember Moon
on NXT.
Baszler,
tag team champion.
That's right, her and Nia. The champion of my whole champion. You've heard of my pillow, now my hole.
She did get a I think it was Mickey James sent her a picture of a donut, pregnancy donut. The only other two women on Raw that I can think of that aren't involved in a feud right now are Nikki Cross.
I was just gonna say her.
Vince does not give two shits about Nikki Cross. Same can be said for Peyton Royce. Mandy Rose and Dana, if they're not going to feud for the tag titles, I guess that's an option. But again, none of them have been built up to any sort of standing that they can get a Mania match.
Yeah, it's not. They're not doing very good.
No, and the sad thing is, okay, let's extrapolate that. Let's look at the rest of the other titles. Intercontinental, Big E, great. That's a legitimate thing. Who's he going to have a defense
Christian
against?
At WrestleMania?
That's the hope. We don't know if he's cleared or no. I'm hoping so. We don't know if he's clear or not. We don't know how legitimate, if he's done or not. We don't know.
What do you mean? Do you think that after the Rumble he could be out because he's injured again?
No, he's been kind of playing it coy as to whether or not that was the last match or not.
No, because he's definitely going up against Big E.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm just going by what's been officially confirmed.
I feel you.
So we officially don't know if he's back or not.
I feel you. U.S. title. Hurt Locker.
We already went. That's Lashley. Yeah.
Yep.
Lashley, and I'm guessing Riddle, probably Riddle and Keith Lee of some sort.
Okay.
They're doing a triple threat at Elimination Chamber, but I kind of see that ending in fuckery and
push to Mania,
possibly
as a final feud match.
Maybe. I can see Big E if he doesn't have Christian. That's where you can see a Daniel Bryan or a Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's already been part of it, so they've already kind of overdone that. Nakamura maybe. Cesaro is getting built up. Cesaro beat Daniel Bryan clean last week, which is kind of cool.
Dang.
Yeah, they've kind of mini pushed Cesaro, which is coming on the heels of him re-signing, which is interesting.
The Swiss Superman returns.
I would love to see it because he is very deserving of it. But in terms of main event picture on SmackDown, you have Reigns, you have Owens, which is great, but it's been done to death at this point.
Yep.
Bryan would be a great foil for Reigns, but for some reason they're not pulling the trigger on it. And that's really kind of it. Nakamura's not been built up enough.
Fair.
I don't think you go with the Uso challenging him until you're going to take the belt off of Reigns.
Yeah, and give Reigns time off.
No. They've mentioned Goldberg, but I think that's done. I don't think that's a chance. I think that's Goldberg keeping something alive just because he feels like keeping something alive. And that's kind of it. Corbin? No. Rey Mysterio? No. Matter of fact, you're probably going to get a Corbin versus Rey Mysterio match at Mania of some sort.
Yeah.
Got to remember, they're also breaking Mania up into 2 days again.
More matches are going to be announced.
So they got to fill 2 cards. But again, none of these sound interesting. Meanwhile, you've got Aleister Black, Ricochet, Andrade, um, Buddy Murphy, all in catering, just sitting
Awful.
there. Yeah, Andrade wasn't even in the Rumble. Strowman's out for probably a solid little while yet, actually.
Why? His elimination?
No, that was actually just a news story that was broken tonight. He is dealing with some kind of a blood infection. Apparently, he picked it up after the Rumble somewhere, somehow, some kind of bacterial blood infection. He said he dropped 15 pounds in 5 days.
Whoa, bro.
He is all over the place. He says they've got it out of his system. He's going to be coming back, but God only knows how long that's going to take.
Jeez, that's crazy.
So, yeah. Actually, I'll pull up the exact quote from him because it kind of surprised me because it came out of nowhere tonight. Let's see if I can pull it up here. It was on Cage Side a minute ago. Let's see. Oh, hey, here's a new update for you. Hot breaking news: Mia Yim and Keith Lee are engaged.
Oh, congrats to those two.
Yeah, they just one of the headlines on Cage Side just says she said yes in the picture of a ring, Lee and Mia Yim. So I'm guessing that's the case.
She got engaged in COVID in the same week.
A couple weeks removed, probably.
Oh.
So here's the comment from Strowman from his Instagram, quote unquote. I got really sick over the weekend. I got an infection that got into my blood system. Had to get put on antibiotics for that. It was awful. I've dropped like 15 pounds in 5 days. Couldn't eat and stuff like that. But it looks like I've gained 50 pounds of water weight. All my joints and everything are all swollen and inflamed, but the antibiotics are working. I'm feeling better. I'll be back to seeing you guys very soon. So, Big Braun's got big infection. So, decent chance you're not going to see him for Chamber for one. Maybe you see him for Mania, but you have to get him back in time to build something.
Man, he's going to miss another Mania.
He was at Mania last year.
Yeah, but dude, since he's been on the main roster, he's missed like 3 out of his 6.
Big guys have big health issues sometimes, man.
That's true.
But no, I mean he's actually had a decent record at WrestleMania. He won the tag titles with a kid, and then he beat Goldberg last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we just kind of write that out of our brains. Because remember, that was supposed to be Reigns and Goldberg again. That was supposed to be last year too. So honestly, if it wasn't for the Drew McIntyre thing recently, I would have said that might be what they were leaning towards for Mania. I don't think that's the case though. Either way, like I'm sure by the time Mania comes around, they'll find a way to get us interested in things. They always seem to. It's the only time they seem to put any effort into it. But on paper, based on what we have right now, what they seem to be going after, none of it looks all that entertaining. I'm honestly more interested in Revolution, and Revolution only has like 2 matches confirmed.
Yeah, but Revolution building to that, there's a lot of stuff that could be happening.
It could be. Really quick to stay with NXT, or stay with the WWE. NXT is finishing up the Dusty Classic. We have 2 finals teams announced.
Nice.
We have Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai is your women's final.
All right.
Which is for a women's tag team title shot at some point. That's only been on NXT like twice.
Okay.
Then you also have on the men's side MSK, which is the New Era Rascals, versus Grizzled Young Veterans is your other final.
Okay.
Should be a great match. We have TakeOver coming up this weekend, which is Balor versus Dunn, Io Shirai, and Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm for the women's title. Both the finals of the Dusty Classics. And then Kushida and Johnny Gargano for the North American title.
Nice.
All good stuff. All good stuff. NXT was a lot of fun. Johnny Gargano is maybe the perfect shithead, cowardly heel.
Of course he is.
He's fantastic at it. But that's kind of wrapping it up for NXT. Going into AEW, and we're kind of making this a little bit of a shorty boy episode, so I'm kind of jamming right through to AEW.
Sure, that's fine.
You said you did not get to watch AEW, correct? Or Dynamite last night?
Correct.
Okay, so are we cool with spoiling?
Let me hold on. I need to check with the higher ups. Hey. Oh, hey, I'm the high. Yes, of fucking course. It's fine.
So, a couple big news stories out of last night. The biggest, probably news story wise, is that Sammy's out of the inner circle.
I love that.
He quit.
I love that so much.
Basically, I'm trying to remember the exact confrontation. He got into it backstage with MJF, because that's what MJF does. And MJF tried to audio record on his phone Sammy, like, confessing that he hated Chris Jericho or something, tried to, like, manipulate him into saying something.
Yeah, of course.
Sammy broke his phone, punched him in the stomach, like kayfabe broke a rib or something, and then just walked off. And then after Jericho and MJF had a match with the Acclaimed, which was a decent match, with MJF selling his ribs the entire time.
Nice.
Sammy comes out and says, "I'm done. I'm out. I told you then one more time of MJF pulling something. I'm done, and I'm done." And he just turned around and walked off. He even walked off the show. He said, "I need some time to figure shit out."
Nice.
We had Darby Allin getting drugged behind a car in a body bag because he's Darby Allin and that's what he does. That was Team Taz.
Pre-tape or live during the show?
Live. Well, backstage, so probably pre-taped.
Gotcha.
Sting came out to say his piece about the street fight coming up. Cut to the back where they have Darby in a body bag and Cage and company are going to drag him off. And Sting goes in hot pursuit, briskly, old man walking to the back. Cody had a match where with Lee Johnson, one of the new Nightmare Family members, because the Nightmare Family keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, it does.
But Cody may have slightly torn a rotator cuff in the match. There's a rumor on that.
Ooh.
Which just, maybe that Shaq match just doesn't need to happen.
Universe keeps trying to put it off, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. That really, I think we're just let it go. Trying to think otherwise, story-wise. The Women's Championship Eliminator. Women's Championship Eliminator started officially. We're going to have a women's bracket on the on Dynamite, and then on YouTube the Japanese women's bracket.
Now let's talk about the Japanese women's bracket really quick, because there was some interesting Twitter talk and rumblings. Tell me you know what I'm talking about.
Maki Ito, I believe is her name.
Yes, Maki Ito.
I know of a couple of things. One is that she announced that she was on the match by just going, "Hello, fuckers," with Cody, like literally, "Hello, motherfuckers." And Cody's like, "I want her to win now."
Yep.
Which I'm in agreement with.
Yeah.
I know nothing about her, but I like her already.
I watched a bunch of highlights from her. You should definitely go check her out.
Well, she also managed to piss off Cornette, which I love.
Well, she didn't actually initially. What initially happened was Cornette was commenting on how, oh, great, fanboy Tony Khan has got this Japanese doll wrestler with this gimmick, and the Empire Strikes Back.
It's 10:30.
It is.
I'm an old bastard. All right.
We both been rolling all day, so we're that's why we're making it a short boy, because we're old. Damn it. But listen. So she was on there, and he commented about how essentially, be careful, Ito, because he's going to make you the deity of shit next. And
she had made some comment, "I am the deity of something," and piss was this weird comment.
Yeah.
So he commented back with, "Yeah, he's going to turn you into the deity of shit." And she tweets out a picture of herself doused in what appears to be chocolate syrup.
It's chocolate pudding.
Calling herself, "Hey, I'm the deity of shit now."
Well, and the funny thing is that was from a promotion event from 2018, so it's something that from time past, so it's not even recent.
No, I
but
know.
she's just like, oh, I'll buy into this, and I'm gonna just go even harder.
I love it. I love it. Anything
She
that trolls Cornette, I'm good on.
she has become the master of the middle finger, and Austin has nothing on her.
I know, like I said, I know nothing about her whatsoever.
When
But
we get out of
I
here,
want her to
go
win.
do your research, bro.
I'll have to look into her.
Next
But
week, Buckles is gonna come back. Someone to watch. Maki Ito. You told me, Nate.
um, real quick, just jumping in. Well, I guess I'll save it until after Dynamite. But um, the other kind of headline, I'm trying to think, going back and forth the rest of. The Hangman Adam Page saga had another little wrinkle to it.
Oh,
where you remember Matt Hardy was trying to recruit him a little bit.
yeah, to the party, Hardy
After
party.
After Dark Order had tried to recruit him, and he wouldn't. He kind of left them at the altar.
And after he left the team of the Elite.
So Matt comes up to him and says, "Hey, I want to take you out for drinks. I've rented out the bar, just you and me. Let's go get drunk. You know, no strings attached, nothing." Cut to the bar later, and Hangman's into his cups a bit, as you would expect old drunk man to be. And Hardy, who is very much playing a heel character at this point, that carny
Devil's advocate, bro.
He's doing his best Heyman, yes, but he's really playing up the carny aspect to it. He says something about, man, I see millions of dollars in you, man. I see all this money in you. We can make you a main eventer. I need you to sign a contract with me. So he gives Hangman this contract, and Hangman's, all over the place. He's drunk, and Matt gives him the contract, and Hangman's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do it. Give me a pen. He gets a pen, and Matt takes his eyes off him and goes over and looks at the camera and says, cameraman, I just got you here because I want you to be a witness to this. And while he's talking to the cameraman, back behind him, Hangman takes in his coat pocket, you just toss the contract and pulls a second contract out of his pocket, signs it, and says, now, Matt, I need you to sign this too. Oh, we're good. And they left it at that. So he pulled the old switcheroo fast one on him, but that's all we know so far. I have a theory.
Oh, tell me the theory.
I have a theory that by that contract next week, or once he figures out what the contract says, Big Money Matt Hardy is going to be wearing the same sweatshirt that you are. I think that was the contract to sign to join the Dark Order.
Oh, dude, that's brilliant. That is so good.
I don't know if that's where they're going, but it would make my fucking day. I love it.
That's good bait and switch.
But yeah, he did bait and switch the contract regardless. So it may not be a Dark Order thing. My heart wants it to be, but we'll see.
But that would then make him the best recruiter for Dark Order, better than the recruit masters Johnny Hungy and Mr. Reynolds.
It would be funny to watch Johnny Hungy battle for the soul of the Dark Order with Matt Hardy.
Timeout. Can we just acknowledge really quick the depressing sadness that is the loss of Johnny Hungy's BTE belt?
He'll get it back.
He lost it at a field goal kicking competition to Sammy. Sammy didn't even know how to kick a gun. It was awful.
But I haven't watched BTE in the last couple of weeks, but I think they already have a number one contender for it.
I haven't watched this week, so I need to watch.
I'm not sure. I feel like I heard that. Trying to think. Otherwise, they did have a little bit more of the. There's a funny. Excuse me. Funny little segment on a golf course where Kenny was playing golf and got interviewed by Alex Marvez, who randomly happened to be on the golf course as well. Kenny hits a shot and then goes to do his interview, and you can see Callis in the background putting it in the hole for him. So it was dumb, but the highlight of the night, other than Sammy quitting, is the final match of the night, which is Mox and the Murder Hawk Monster, who is now a face apparently, or at least a face-leaning tweener, which is probably the right spot for him.
Yeah.
Versus Kenny and versus Kenta, and this is Kenta's the first New Japan member, like active New Japan roster member. They mentioned the Forbidden Door like 20 times.
Oh yeah, it got kicked open, bro.
There's rumors going around that because Tama Tonga and
Tamaloa
Well, no, there's another person as well, like the girls at Destiny, and then someone else. I cannot remember who now. Has a U.S. residence. That may be something they're hinting towards. So don't know that for sure.
Osprey,
No, Osprey lives in Japan full time, I believe.
Zack Saber Jr.
No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, I'm just throwing names at the wall.
No, you're good. Um, but the match ended up being great. It was a false count anywhere, no DQ, and they literally did go everywhere. They ended up in the stage. Um, Jericho got or not Jericho. Kenny got choke slammed onto Pretty Pete Avalon's heart shaped bed outside. They ended up in the kitchen, the Daly's Place kitchen, where potatoes became weapons.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Potatoes as a weapon.
Yes. Moxley hit a loaded punch with a potato in his hand.
A loaded potato punch?
That is, and you can tell he enjoyed it. But there was also a T spot. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Moxley or Archer was going to powerbomb Kenta through the announce table, which to date has not happened on AEW yet. But Kenta gets out of his grasp and then just runs to the side of the stage and double stomps Moxley off the side of the stage. It's a nice little setup spot.
Awesome.
But we end the match with a run in from the Good Brothers. It took 4 people to beat down Archer enough. Moxley had the barbed wire bat at one point, and it ended up with Archer taking the one-winged angel for the loss.
That's crazy because Kenny is not as big as he is, right?
That's why I said it took 4 people. They had to kind of help him up on the shoulders.
That's crazy.
You also, on the topic of the Bullet Club / Elite, they mentioned Bullet Club more than a few times last night too. But the Young Bucks were a little shitty with the Good Brothers for interfering in the Battle Royal match because they were going to challenge them in the first place. But they threw out a challenge. They want to defend the titles next week against Santana and Ortiz, which should be a banger.
Hell yes.
The opening match tonight was Darby versus Janela for the title. That was the opening match of the night. It was actually a very good match.
Awesome.
So a lot of fun there. I think that about does it for Dynamite, though. The opening match of the Women's Eliminator Tournament was Thunder Rosa and Layla Hirsch, which was a very good match, very solid match. I've been saying they need to
Rosa went over.
Yes.
Yeah, Leela's still green. Obviously, she's getting her, levels in as a talent that's on screen, and they're using her well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Putting her with really top tier talent to work with,
There was a match I forgot. Pac fought Hollywood Hunk Ryan Nemeth, but I forgot the match because you can tell about how that went.
About Squash City, USA.
Yeah, Pac kicked him so many times I thought he may have actually been unconscious.
Whoa!
Like before he hit the Black Arrow, there was a legitimate pause where he kicked him a bunch of times on the ground, and there was like this pause where he got up on he like was gonna reposition him to hit the arrow on him, like kind of moving him around in front of the turnbuckle. And the dude just didn't move, and Pac just kind of stared at him for a couple seconds. Like, it was kind of awkward, but he still went ahead to hit the move, so I'm guessing he was okay. But it was a little weird. We're still getting some form of Jurassic Express and FTR. Probably at Revolution, I would guess. I think to date, the only things announced for Revolution right now are the street fight and they moved the Shaq match anyway, so it wasn't going to be on Revolution. That may be the only one that's officially announced. I don't remember off the top of my head. So, but I mean, it was fun. Dynamite always is. That the main event alone was worthwhile. Again, loaded potato punch.
Oh man, using potatoes as a weapon.
I did want to hit on something else before we got out of here, unless you had anything else for AEW and or Dynamite.
Kinda. My brain actually wanted to go to Impact, actually, because we
I
got.
haven't been following much on
Well,
Impact, so you're gonna have to take the reins on that one.
I'm mainly talking about one match, and I was gonna just quickly Google the No Surrender card, because I wanted there's a couple things that have been announced, and I don't want to not give them the just dues. So, one of the main matches that I do want to talk about from No Surrender that's coming up is this triple threat match. Do you know about the 3-way tag match?
Right. It's the tag champs, which is Good Brothers
Yep.
versus Private Party
Yep.
versus I believe is it Lance Storm and Lance Storm and not Chris Sabin.
Yep. Chris Sabin.
This is Chris Sabin.
James Storm, though.
James Storm. Why did I say
Not
Lance Storm?
Lance Storm. Not the Canadian. Not that Canadian. But yeah, it's a triple threat match, and I want to just put my 2 cents in here that this match was only recently, as like literally Tuesday, made a triple threat match as we're going into the actual car.
I thought it was last week. They'd announced it last week.
Maybe it was last week, but
Yeah.
no, it was
No, it was announced last week because that was when Private Party interfered in the match.
Well, no, the thing is that I thought they just made it. They just announced because the Private Party Good Brothers match was already at No Surrender, and then they just added Sabin and Storm.
They added Sabin and Storm because Private Party interfered in a match to cause it to be like.
That's right. They were in the ring, and I remember. Okay, I got you. So, anyways, I talk about this because it's interesting to me that you have a triple threat match where the titles can change hands and the Good Brothers don't lose. And I think that it is very plausible that Private Party actually is going to win the titles off of Sabin and Storm so they can defend those titles against the Good Brothers at Revolution.
Could be.
Because what a bigger holy SHIT moment than to have...
You're going to have to do that quick. It's going to be a quick turnaround, but I think it's possible, yeah.
I think it makes sense. I really do.
When is No Surrender? What's the actual date on that?
Saturday.
Is it this weekend?
Literally Saturday. So we're talking about tomorrow. It's tomorrow, folks.
Okay. And then Takeover's on Sunday.
Yeah, the Vengeance Day.
Right. So it gives you, because if I'm not mistaken, Revolution is like the second or third weekend, or first or second weekend of March, I believe. I don't remember what the actual date is, but that roughly gives you about a little less than a month to get everything turned around if you want to do it that way, which is fine. I did want to touch on a little bit of indie wrestling briefly. I just found out there is, and I may be spoken for this weekend because apparently they're doing another Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 2-night event, which I'm all for. I may have to spend some money on. But speaking of spending money on independent wrestling, we just got the announcement for the Collective 2021.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. If you remember, I was all excited for the Collective 2020 back in April, which never happened.
Yeah, you got super kicked by COVID.
And then finally did happen in October. But they've announced they're going to run it the Thursday and Friday prior to Mania weekend, which means we're going to get 2 days of independent wrestling. And then I'm not sure if they're going to have a takeover. I'm assuming they'll have a takeover that weekend at some point. But then Mania Saturday and Sunday night.
Will AEW do counter programming?
From a personal standpoint where I would have to try to watch everything, I hope not. But I'm considering taking a couple days off work to watch this all. I said I was going to do that last year when they ran it in October. I mean, I should have done that. So I'm considering pretty heavily if I can get things on my work schedule switched around, which funny how that works when you make your own schedule. That I might take that Thursday and Friday off to sit and watch Collective.
There you go.
I do want to throw out that it's not everybody's as excited about it as I am. Just reading some of the comments on Twitter and on Cage Side and Facebook and all that.
Sure.
Primarily because we are still in the depths of COVID and it is in Florida.
And you're like, come on.
Well, unfortunately, even though I was excited and happy to have the Collective back in October, there were some positive tests that came out of that. So they need to kind of tighten up their shop a little bit. maybe. Um, so far as I know, there hasn't been any positive tests come out of the Fight Forever event, which makes me think they may have gotten that act tightened up a little bit. So I'm happy for that. I do believe it is mask required. It is social distancing required, like 20% ticket sales, I think only. And I believe they're doing it outdoors. So they are trying at least. But either way, it is 2 full days of wrestling. Uh, and I do believe I know they're running another blood sport. They're running another Alley Cats real hot girl shit. Effie's Big Gay Brunch. We're getting into Janela Spring Break by the grace of God. I know for the culture, a lot of the same events that we've kind of gotten used to seeing over the last couple of big GCW events.
Totally.
But those they're never a letdown either.
Do you think
So
WrestleMania will happen? WrestleMania 2?
I don't, just because I haven't heard any word about it yet. I follow Warhorse and Danhausen both on Twitter, and I have not heard a word to it yet. Uh, Speaking of following Warhorse on Twitter, the Retromania Wrestling video game should be out at the end of this month, I do believe.
Nice.
A little bit of a 16-bit or 32-bit wrestling game
Oh
with a lot of
yeah.
your favorite indie stars. I'm on a 16/32-bit kick myself. I've been playing some Sonic Spinball. We're in good shape.
Nice.
That's a game that deserves a remake, by God. It's underappreciated video game.
Nice.
But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, I'll get to take a 4-day wrestle vacation.
That's the way, bro. That is the way.
Because
Awesome, man.
I suffer for this show.
Hey, we all suffer for this show, bro. So, yeah, man. No, I'm looking forward to the upcoming WrestleMania season. We do have a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. We do have a lot of interesting things that we don't have answers for yet, and we're going to be obviously seeing how things flesh out. Revolution is an interesting time that builds us obviously towards Double or Nothing, which is really their big blow off before we get back around to your All
You
Out.
know, something that's interesting about Revolution specifically is that that is like again, I think the first or second weekend in March. So we're about a month out. We still don't have a title match for it.
Yeah, because there's other shit at play. What about
Right. I'm absolutely in agreement with you. I'm just saying it bears watching. Like there's going to be something happening here.
question? Not to say that I'm just theorizing. What if we got Kenny v. Ibushi v. Swan triple threat
Not
match?
not at Revolution.
No?
Not at Revolution. I think if they do Kenny and Ibushi at all,
Wrestle Kingdom?
it'll either be Wrestle Kingdom or it'll be like All Out or Double or Nothing or one of their.
It's gonna be Wrestle Kingdom. It makes the most sense, honestly.
More than likely.
I don't. Yeah, but I meant
And then,
that triple threat would be more interesting.
It would be that. It depends. It really depends on what their agreement is, because now you're not just talking about an agreement between AEW and New Japan. Now you have an AEW, New Japan, and Impact. So it just depends on what the agreement is.
I have a thought. What if not a lot has officially been announced, because besides the few things that have been announced, we're gonna get essentially a AEW v Impact kind of invasion type thing. Swan versus Kenny, Good Brothers versus the Bucks.
What I kind of expect at this point, and this is just complete conjecture on my part, because of the way the world is. We know this is coming from Meltzer. We talked about it in the last show. There is an agreement in place between New Japan and AEW, and that there is further things in the future that they want to do. They do have plans in mind down the road, but what's preventing those plans right now is still COVID.
Yep.
So anything that we're thinking of, anything that you and I want to dream up between the two of them, is going to have to wait until the world's at least a more stable place. So Wrestle Kingdom may be the most accurate, because that's the one that's the longest off. That's a year away. Wrestle Kingdom was just last month. So, I mean, we're looking at January or in December, early January next year, if we want to do it that way. So what I could see is Impact doing an invasion angle, like you're saying, and that being the story behind maybe I don't know about Revolution because they need to build that quickly. They would need to get on a horse and start doing that soon. Or that could be the story coming out of Revolution and going into Double or Nothing.
Absolutely.
Well, is it Double or Nothing? It's or All Out first.
Double or Nothing is in May. All Out is in September.
Right. And then Full Gear is
November.
Yeah. So I would say that may be your angle for All Out, or for Double or Nothing rather. But I don't think you're going to start seeing real, like, significant crossing the borders between New Japan and AEW until probably Full Gear at the earliest. If we're lucky, maybe All Out. But that's not dependent upon wrestling. That's dependent on the rest of the world.
Correct.
So I could see them doing the Impact thing and really expanding that before I see New Japan doing anything.
Hey, bro, can I say out live on the podcast right now, just between me and the hole in the wall? I'm just making this plan right now. Me, you, and my boy Javi are going to the first AEW in Chicago when that shit gets real and we can go back to the real world. I'm just saying it here. I think that would be amazing.
I'm down for it.
Amazing.
I'm down for it.
Make a weekend of it.
Yep. We get to bring Mr. Linder up with us too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we could definitely do that.
All right, Buckles. Well, I think this may be a good point to depart. I don't know if we have much to talk about outside of that.
The only thing I have left is just to scream my hole over and over and over again. That's the only thing I have left. That's all I have.
Our JIW episode shorter than Shorty G right now.
I refuse to call it that because I refuse to acknowledge that name is in existence.
I feel you.
And they've dropped it too. He's back to Gable.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But
no, I still like as far as episode title. I still like Macho Man Randy Otis.
Oh, I got you. I already got the episode title locked in. Don't worry about that. But I do want to thank everybody for checking out this week's episode. As always, you folks can check out the podcast in a multitude of places. I do ask you and encourage you to please go onto our YouTube or our Facebook. If you're going onto YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Make sure you never miss an episode. Every time we get a brand new episode going live, you're going to get notified right away. That way you can be involved in the conversation. Comment below. Share this out to the world. Make sure to go on that Facebook land, like the page, check out the video, post that video to your friends' wrestling groups because that's what we need. We need you guys to expand us out there, my friends. But also, you can check us out on these different podcasting platforms. Wherever you're listening to podcast services, pretty much, you can find the Journey into Comics Network. You're going to search on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, and many others. As I said, just search Journey into Comics Network. This one feed of amazing shows is all you'll need.
And while you're doing that, you can also hop onto the Twitter feed.
You can definitely hop onto that amazing Twitter feed.
Let's see if I can find it. I'm going to try to find it again. Is it down here this time?
It's not quite down there. It's like right on your face. And I was just like hip hop horning it like wow, wow, wow.
I got you. So it's on my face. So it's an improvement. Okay.
Okay. Now
so
it's
yeah,
off
it's
your face.
on that at JIW on JIC on Twitter. Live tweeting Raw and SmackDown. Join in, make the shows more enjoyable. Come on, for the love of God, please help me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, folks, I will also encourage you, if you are doing any of the things we said previously for the Journey into Comics Network, for Journey into Wrestling, and you are a music fan, check out my new show, Rank 'em All Podcast. You can get that on all those podcasting platforms and on YouTube. Right now, we are currently in the midst of ranking the entire Metallica discography, and today, if you're watching our show, it's Friday. It's Happy freaking Friday. Guess what?
It's WandaVision Day.
It's WandaVision Day, and it's the day we are releasing Master of Puppets. So go check us out talking about one of the greatest metal albums of all time there.
One of the greatest albums of all time, but only the second greatest Metallica album.
Oh, well.
I couldn't get on the Rank 'em All, so I will make my opinion heard.
I like that you're making your opinion heard. I won't spoil where it actually ends up on the Master Rank because we're going to save that for the big reveal in April. But
Ride the Lightning or Die.
I love that. RTL or D. Yep, I feel you, man. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Journey into Wrestling. This has been Journey into Wrestling, Season 5 for the last time, Episode 17. That's going to get confusing next week, but you guys will see how that all works. This has been Macho Man Randy Otis. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Using a potato as a weapon. I've been Nate.
I'm still Buckles.
And we will see you folks later. Join Dark Order.